Hi everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel, whatever it may be. Um, there's some new news, media, CTV and CBC on the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case that I wanted to show you guys. And I wanted to yesterday was such a mess. First of all, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. um, and yeah, make it the best day. Be safe and make it the best day you can. Um, and yesterday was such a mess. So you know better, you do better. So hopefully today I'm going to do better. So I wanted to go over the latest that the RCMP put out again. And today there is a couple of new uh, information out from CTV News and CBC News. And I wanted to share that with you guys in case you have not seen it yet. One thing I noticed yesterday, and I went through it so quick because by the time I figured everything out here and sorted out the mess, I then kind of rushed through everything. But one thing I noticed in that the latest information that the RCMP had put out was that they did not say there is no abduction. They changed their wording on what they've been saying. And so now today, when I looked at the CTV news and the CBC news, they're kind of touching on that as well. Well, especially the CBC one. So I want your guys' thoughts. Share your thoughts with me. Feel free to chat and please leave a comment. Don't forget to like. So let's bring up the CTV one first. And this is Jack and Lilly Sullivan. I will show you a picture of them. That is Jack and Lilly Sullivan, missing since May 2nd. And this is CTV News.
6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing from their Lansdowne Station home in rural Pictou County on May 2nd. Since then, RCMP have launched an extensive investigation, and today police offered an update and detailed look at what's been done so far. But still, RCMP won't say if they've identified any persons of interest, suggesting that might compromise the current investigation, but did say they've conducted polygraphs.
The Truth Verification Unit is engaged. There's multiple facets to those investigations, and those experts are examining every question and answer that those individuals are providing, and it could guide the investigation.
Police have collected hundreds of hours of video from the area and have interviewed 54 people in all and have received 488 tips. As for the search, they say they've scoured the Sullivan children's home, including outbuildings, septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts, and have seized multiple devices and materials, but police couldn't say if that extensive search and investigation work has led to any new evidence.
The information gathered to date has not identified any new search areas at this time.
What's most significant is the administering of polygraph tests, says CTV's policing expert and former OPP polygraph examiner Chris Lewis.
You don't do polygraph tests and waste that resource on people that just maybe saw something, heard something, or is a real remote suspect. That's not the way it works. So if they're doing polygraph tests and examinations on people, those are people that they may well suspect have been involved in some way or for whatever reason aren't being honest.
Police say the missing person investigation continues, and they are following all tips and ask anyone who may have information to contact Crime Stoppers. Jesse Thomas, CTV News.
Problem solved. Fiverr's got talented
So-
freelancers for anything we need.
I want to go back over to
The team kept growing their business with Fiverr freelancers handling a variety of tasks.
what the RCMP put out yesterday, because I want to go over that again. I can't remember if it said that they had how many people that they had done polygraph on. And guys, if you notice that I'm lost for words at times, it's my brain fog that I have. RCMP, okay, we'll wait to do that one. I want to go over, yes, that one. Okay, update, missing children investigation. Hi, everyone. I'm just going over this again from yesterday, and I just played a new CTV News. Oh, shoot, I X'd it out. I'm going to be playing another one from CBC, and they touch on the abduction part of it, because one thing I noticed yesterday when I had read over this, and I read over it so quickly because yesterday just ended up in a complete debacle in my life. So I'm going over it again because I have some questions. Two things. I noticed in this that they did not state, as they usually do, that no abduction. And the other, I was curious, did they say how many people they had completed polygraphs on? Now, the video clip I just played from CTV News, they actually had the expert there discussing the polygraph. So, okay, so I'm going to read this over again. If anybody wants me to play the news clip again from CTV News to listen to the expert, I will play it again. Just let me know in the chat. Okay, so missing children investigation and search in Pictou County, sorry. May 13th, 2025, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia. The Pictou County District RCMP, with the assistance of the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, continue to investigate the disappearance of Lilly&Jack Sullivan. We're exploring all avenues in this missing persons investigation, says Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon, Pictou County District RCMP. We have officers from multiple disciplines dedicated to finding Lilly and Jack, including highly trained RCMP major crime and forensic investigators. To date, more than 180 tips have been received from the public. Excuse me. I thought at one point they said more than 180. I thought they said 300 and some. From the public, and are being followed up on. Officers have so far identified 35 people for formal interviews as part of the investigation, including community members and those closest to the children. And on May 8th and 9th, the RCMP's underwater recovery team scoured bodies of water around Lansdowne Station. URT, and that's the underwater recovery team, day operation didn't uncover any evidence. We continue to work day and night on this file, says Sergeant McKinnon. Like all Nova Scotians, we want answers, and we want to know what happened to these children. On May 2nd, at approximately 10 a.m., Pictou County District RCMP received a report. Okay, around 10 a.m. Received a report that Lilly and Jack Sullivan were missing. They were believed to have wandered away from their home on Garlock Road. A multi-agency search and missing persons investigation began immediately. The search, which was scaled back to specific areas on May 7th, has covered 5.5 square kilometers of heavily wooded rural terrain in the Garlock Road area. It has involved up to 160 trained volunteers, volunteer searchers, and many others, and tens of thousands of search hours. Efforts to locate Lily and Jack also included 2 vulnerable missing persons alerts. Anyone with information. Okay, what is this not right? That is May 13th. That's not the one I'm looking for. Sorry, guys. Okay, well, let's go to the CBC News, and then I will find the latest one there from yesterday that I already read that I want to read again. And then I'll show you the CTV one again as well for those who missed it. So this is the CBC one. This one's interesting because this is what I noticed when I read that yesterday, that they this time did not mention, because they've continuously stated no abduction. They didn't say that this time. And the other thing I was curious about is what they were saying about the polygraphs. And I'd read that so quick yesterday that I want to go over it again.
Nova Scotia RCMP provided an update today on the case of missing siblings Lily and Jack Sullivan. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack were reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station on May 2nd. Currently, more than 11 Nova Scotia RCMP units are working on the case. Police say they've received hundreds of hours of video, interviewed 54 people, given polygraph tests, and received 488 tips. When asked whether police are now considering abduction, they say all scenarios are being considered.
When we say all scenarios, it means everything that you can imagine out there. I imagine you probably have your own theory on what happened, as would anyone out there. And our goal is to explore every investigative avenue.
RCMP say they've also been granted judicial authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that could potentially help their investigation.
Yeah, so you see, they're not saying that, they're ruling that out anymore. And in fact, he stated all scenarios.
Wayfair presents
So,
Storage.
yeah, that just hit me last night when I was thinking about everything that was in that article that I could remember, because like I said, I went through it so quick after the mess of my live yesterday, and I just thought they're not saying ruling out abduction anymore, which I'm glad. They shouldn't have said that right in the beginning. They shouldn't have been saying that, and they should have put that Amber Alert out. Okay, so I'll bring up the CTV one again for anybody that did not see it. Now I'm trying to remember where I found that. As soon as I show a video, I exit out. I shouldn't. I should keep it up there for a bit. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'll bring it back up. Yeah, I think that's it. If anybody can hear music in the background, it's there's a big party going on down the road here. Locally, where I'm from, anybody from Canada knows Sobeys. Well, where I'm from, that's where Sobeys, that's where they come from, the family. And Sobeys is a grocery chain throughout Canada. Anyways, they're having a big bash at the head office down the street, and the music's very loud. So if you hear music, that's what it is. It's not me playing music. uh, yeah, and it's kinda nice, because, I could sit outside right now and listen to that music, and once a year, just before Christmas, they put off a big fireworks display, and I live so close, when the fireworks go off, the fireworks comes towards my backyard, so we can sit outside and watch those fireworks, and it's just like it's right in our backyard. It's beautiful, so we get to enjoy some of that, and I love fireworks. I'm an easy person to impress. Okay, so let's go over that again, or I'll show that to you guys again for anybody that missed it. They have the expert on there talking about the polygraphs.
Home in rural Pictou County on May 2nd. Since then, RCMP have 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing from their Lansdowne Station home in rural Pictou County on May 2nd. Since then, RCMP have launched an extensive investigation, and today police offered an update and detailed look at what's been done so far. But still, RCMP won't say if they've identified any persons of interest, suggesting that might compromise the current investigation, but did say they've conducted polygraphs.
The Truth Verification Unit is engaged. There's multiple facets to those investigations, and those experts are examining every question and answer that those individuals are providing, and it could guide the investigation.
Police have collected hundreds of hours of video from the area and have interviewed 54 people in all, and have received 488 tips. As for the search, they say they've scoured the Sullivan children's home, including outbuildings, septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts, and have seized multiple devices and materials, but police couldn't say if that extensive search and investigation work has led to any new evidence.
The information gathered to date, it has not identified any new search areas at this time.
What's most significant is the administering of polygraph tests, says CTV's policing expert and former OPP polygraph examiner Chris Lewis.
You don't do polygraph tests and waste that resource on people that just maybe saw something, heard something, or is a real remote suspect. That's not the way it works. So if they're doing polygraph tests and examinations on people, those are people.
So I'm wondering who, and that's why I want to go back and read that from yesterday, what the latest information that RCMP put out, because I can't remember if they said who. I feel like I remember the number 11, and again, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know my memory's terrible, and I'm horrible with numbers, but well, I'm gonna go back and read that, because in my brain, I'm just thinking, okay, well, who? Well, obviously, we know Daniel. I would think Malaya, probably, her parents. I don't know if the grandmother, maybe Belinda. She talks a lot on. It's a crime and shame. She didn't mention that, but maybe she was told not to. I'm thinking the bus driver. Anyways, yeah, probably the grandmother on the property, the brother. I'm just curious, like as to who all those polygraphs would have been administered to. Maybe I'm just being nosy. No, something happened to these children, and it seems they're obviously not in the woods. Now the RCMP are saying they're not ruling anything out. And like he had said earlier here, well, on the CBC one, anything that your mind can think of, right? So that's everything that we've already all been talking about on our channels here. And so that would be, quite a big number of people in that circle that they would be wanting to do polygraphs on, in my opinion.
That they may well suspect have been involved in some way or for whatever reason aren't being honest.
Police say the missing person investigation continues, and they are following all tips and ask anyone who may have information to contact Crime Stoppers. Jesse Thomas, CTV News.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there's something that Daniel has said, and I'm going to go over that in a bit as well. If anybody watches It's a Criming Shame, and if they're on, I usually get to watch it when I'm in bed at night because of the time difference. And they had shown another text message from Daniel, and he's talking about water again. But anyways, I took a screenshot of it. I'm not going to show it on here because that's their material on their show, and I'm not going to do that, but I will quote it, and I just have an opinion of it, what he stated. Okay, so excuse me, guys. I want to look up that from yesterday, and I pulled up the wrong one from the RCMP. I could probably just pull my video up from yesterday. Oh, that was such a mess. Okay, so update Lilly&Jack Sullivan, RCMP update, RCMP. Okay, well, let's go over this one. This isn't the actual one from the RCM on their site. Sometimes I have trouble finding their site for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes it comes right up and sometimes it doesn't. But this is the news article that's pretty much quoting exactly the same thing. Excuse me. In a Wednesday update, RCMP said their intensive approach into the investigation continues. Currently, more than 11 Nova Scotia RCMP units are working on the case, including the Major Crime Unit, Truth Verification Section, which I guess that would be the polygraphs, Behavioral Science Group, excellent, and the Criminal Analysis Service. As well, police said the National Centre for Missing Persons and Canadian Centre for Children Protection have joined the investigation. The National Centre of Missing Children and Canadian Centre for Child Protection. I'm going to look that up and read what they're all about. This is in addition to police agencies from across Nova Scotia and in other parts of Canada. The investigation is being led by a tenacious, committed group of investigators who are gathering and assessing information daily to learn more about the circumstances of Lily and Jack's disappearance so we can find them, said Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon. officer in charge of major crime and behavioral sciences in the news release. So he's the guy that was at the press conference they did with the pictures of the kids up and that. So he is the major crime and behavioral sciences. So he would have been there to watch the behavior of Malaya and Daniel. All scenarios are being considered, and we've engaged every tool and resource at our disposal. So, yeah, again, like when I thought about this last night after I read it yesterday, I thought they're not saying no abduction as they usually do. No new search areas identified. RCMP also revealed that so far they've received hundreds of hours of video. Wow. See, I didn't catch that yesterday when I read this because I went through it so quick. RCMP also revealed that so far they've received hundreds of hours of video from the areas around Lansdowne Station. This includes footage taken from Garlock Road between noon, April 28th, and noon, May 2nd, which is what they were looking for. They had put out that they wanted that video footage, so they got it. Wow. They had previously said the siblings were seen on video on the afternoon of May 1st with family members. And they were seen in New Glasgow. And I wondered when they said that because the kids were not feeling well. I wondered if now in the text between Malaya and the paternal grandmother, Malaya had said that both the kids were not feeling well. They both had a cough. So I wondered if they were going into the doctor's office or possibly the hospital. A lot of people around here don't have doctors, believe it or not. And where Malaya is from, Truro, and then she moved here, she possibly wouldn't have a doctor here. And like a lot of people that age group, they don't have a doctor, and there's those kids don't have a doctor. So they end up having to go to the emergency to have the kids checked, or there's some nurse practitioners around. We used to have a clinic here and they closed it. A walk-in clinic, and they've closed that. So that could be a possibility of where they went, because the hospital is in New Glasgow, and same as major pharmacies are in New Glasgow, and the nurse practitioners' offices would be in New Glasgow. There's one in Westville as well. But anyways, I just wondered that could be where they were that day. Okay, so police have interviewed 54 people and administered polygraph tests to some of the individuals. Okay, they didn't say how many. I don't know why I had the number 11 in my head. So that's interesting. So I mean, we know for sure Daniel was one, and I'm going to assume that Malaya is one. The children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, previously told Global News he offered to take a polygraph. And we all know that. I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, he said on May 28th. But then he did and said that it was in his favor. But I guess what he meant was he can't elaborate any more than that. RCMP said Wednesday they've received 488 tips. Yeah, see, this says 480. Oh, yeah, because I was reading the wrong article. That's why. It only said 180. They've received 488 tips and have been granted authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that could provide information. Good. Searches of the property where the children went missing have included every aspect of the home, grounds, outbuildings, nearby septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts, they added. We're assessing, evaluating, and analyzing a significant volume of information from a variety of sources. We have a very coordinated and deliberate approach to make certain all information is meticulously scrutinized, prioritized, and actioned to ensure nothing is missed, said Corporal Sandy Mathero. And I do believe they are. You know, I in the beginning of all this, I really took issue with the fact that no Amber Alert was put out, and they were just so adamant that, no abduction. And I just don't think you can, well, I mean, they themselves are now saying nothing's off the table. So, I mean, they're pretty much admitting themselves that, yeah, they should have been looking at every avenue. And I mean, you learn, right? It's just it's just so bothersome that if they were abducted, that you have to learn to make change via the fact that these two kids could have been abducted, and you may have messed up in the beginning of your investigation, and down the road things will probably change. And I'm assuming, certainly here, if that was to ever happen again, that wouldn't take place. But, it's just unfortunate that that's the way that lesson has to be learned, and change has to be made through mistakes like that. And I know as a nurse, in the field of like healthcare and law enforcement, and I always say we're not working at Tim Hortons, and I worked at Tim Hortons for 6 years um, back in the day. It's not like making coffee and making a mistake while you put sugar in somebody's coffee and they didn't want sugar. You're dealing with people's lives, and unfortunately, human errors do happen. We still make mistakes, and unfortunately, it has to do with people's lives. But and then we learn, and we do better. We're committed to doing what is necessary to locate Lily and Jack and advance the investigation, which may take longer than we had all hoped. Yeah, and I mean, it does sometimes. There have been multiple extensive searches in the heavily wooded area around the children's home. On May 7th, RCMP said during a news conference that the search was being scaled back. Since then, more targeted searches have taken place near the children's home. RCMP said currently they have not identified any new search areas. Yeah. I'm not going to X that out this time. You guys that are there, if you want me to go over the CBC one again, let me know. I don't know if you saw it, because that's a good one. He's actually talking about not ruling out abduction. He said everything you can think of, everybody out there, anything you can think of is on the table, any scenario. So they're kind of changing their direction there, and they're not continuously saying no abduction, no abduction. So last night when I was watching, It's a Criming Shame. And if you don't watch that channel, it's a pretty good channel. I don't agree with everything, they say. But I think it's because they're looking at many different avenues too. I've kind of learned as I'm watching. I'm like, okay, they're looking at many different scenarios, right? Which, in a case like this, you have to, because I mean, these kids, I hate to say that they've just vanished, because there's no such thing that's magical. Things just don't vanish. But they some of the scenarios that they talk about are, well, I guess any of the scenarios, But she's kind of tough on Malaya, and I think that just bothers me a little bit because I just think of being a mother myself, and if my two children were missing, and I know, Malaya had left, and she's not putting stuff on her Facebook, but there's I believe there's other stuff going on in the background that we're not aware of and that we probably shouldn't be aware of that has to do with, you know, prob possibly due to this investigation and some other stuff going on there with her and, Daniel. I guess my thoughts are just a little bit different than hers as to what's going on there. But anyways, it's not a bad channel.
Jack Sullivan.
Oop. And, okay, I'm going to read this text from so, and like I said, if you wanna see it yourself, you can go to that channel. It's a criming shame. But so what he had stated was, and I quote, this is Daniel stating this. I ran through the streams up to my waist many times. I could have slipped on a wet rock, hit my head, and died. Now this is what he's saying to one of the panel members on It's a Criming Shame in text messages. And this is when he's what he's stating about what he was going through while he was looking for the children. So he could have slipped on a wet rock and hit his head and died, or fall on a stick. Oh my. Fall on a stick. That's pretty extreme. Or branch and get impaled and die. I did it for the kids, and the world will never see that. So, first of all, that's just bizarre. I mean, who cares? That's just an expectation that, yeah, you would do that for kids when they're missing. You do whatever. You do whatever. You run through the fire to save them. You do whatever. And there's many parents who have ran through fire to save their children, in an attempt to save their children. So, I mean, going through water, no, that's not really a big deal. But what struck me about it, well, again, he's talking about water, is that has anybody seen those pictures of Daniel in the water with the fish? This is a country boy. This is a country boy who hunts and fishes, and he's a water boy. He's a woods boy. He of anybody, water that should not be a big deal to him being in the water. And we've seen several pictures of him in the water with holding the fish. So I don't believe he has any fear of water or being in the water or anything like that. So anybody that's just coming in, I can see people coming in. I'm going to read the text again from Daniel. This is what he stated from Daniel Martell. This is what he's stating about what he went through while he was searching for the children. I ran through streams up to my waist many times. I could have slipped on a wet rock, hit my head, and died, or fall on a stick or branch and get impaled and die. I did it for the kids, and the world will never see that. Excuse me. And I was just saying that that's, that's pretty extreme for, especially for somebody who's a water boy. He's grown up fishing in the water. We've seen the pictures of him in the water. Um, yeah. So, and I mean big, giant fish, big fish that you're in the water, uh, holding and trying to steady that fish. Well, maybe you could slip and fall then too and hit your head on a rock. It just struck me odd. It struck me very odd. And anybody that has any thoughts on it, any of this, go ahead and chat. Go ahead and leave a comment. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are. It just really struck me odd. Okay. So I don't know if there's anything else that I wanted to discuss with that. I wanted to go over to the press conference regarding Travis with the sheriff. Okay. And this sheriff, I have to say, he's very handsome. What a handsome man. And he kind of reminds me of my husband too, I have to say. His hair, my husband has the very same type of hair, the same type of nose, and the way his eyes are. And the sternness. That's probably part of the Army stuff. My husband was in, oh my God, I can't remember what it's called, but it's some kind of, has to do with the Army. So we'll listen to a little bit of what he has to say. This was yesterday's, and I hope I didn't get this wrong too. 15 hours ago.
That we need to be reasonable, need to give them the opportunity to rest up and get ready for the second wave when we come in. Clearly, we understand that our investigation has evolved and it has matured, and with that comes a change in situation, which is going to come a change in tactics. You will see a change in our tactics as we proceed forward. You will not see the amount of resources that we have had out there, but you are seeing a different element of our approach as we continue to track down Travis, following the leads, and making it very clear that every single day Travis is out there, he's going to have to aim for perfection. He's not going to be able to make a mistake, because all we need is one mistake and one.
I should have said, guys, this has to do with the three beautiful girls, and I'll put their picture up quickly, and then remember to put myself back on so you can hear me, unlike yesterday. Oh, I guess you can't do that way either. So that's the three, I just want to call them three precious angels, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And what a shame. Like, that is just so heartbreaking. Okay, so we'll go back to what the sheriff has to say.
Day to go in our favor, and he's going to be in our custody. So I hope he's watching. I hope he knows that we haven't given up. You got to be perfect every single day, Travis. We only have to be perfect one day. So We appreciate the community coming alongside us. We cannot do it without the 80,000 plus citizens of Chelan County that have been a constant eye and vigilant force that we do not have at all times. We also appreciate our partners nationally that have come alongside us, assist us in following up leads, and not only nationally, but we've had partners as far away as Australia and Portugal that have done us the favor of being able to spread Travis's face and likeness throughout the globe to ensure that every single person knows near and far what Travis looks like. When you see him, say something to us. We want to find him. We want to bring him to justice. We want to set up the opportunity for him to stand in front of our courts and our judges and face justice and hear the voices of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, whose lives were senselessly taken by evil. That's all it was. We remain committed here at the Chelan County Sheriff's Office with our regional partners, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee PD, Wenatchee PD, State Patrol, to continue to pursue justice and make sure their voices are heard. You're going to hear further from our U.S. Marshal partners to kind of elaborate further on how they're going to also assist us in the tracking process. We have not stopped our investigation, and again, we understand that the results from our crime lab processing from the Washington State Patrol, thank you, Chief Batiste, for your continued assistance on this, are starting to come back. We want to make sure those are properly processed, additional leads and interviews are conducted, and that again, our case is ready to go to court when Travis is brought to justice. So I appreciate your time. I will answer more questions, and I'm going to allow the U.S. Marshal Service to take some further questions from you, the media. But again, I appreciate all of you being here. This is the kind of group effort that's going to take to bring justice to this case. Please make sure you keep their names in your mind and that we bring justice back for those young ladies. Girls is what I've understood the family would like me to refer to them as. But they're deeply in our minds, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Little angels.
Thank you, Sheriff. Chief Brown with the U.S. Marshal Service, Eastern District, Washington. Appreciate everybody being here today. The community support from our law enforcement partners, which the Sheriff has already enumerated, and you as a community has been greatly helpful to us. With that support, we're able to involve ourselves and focus on the fugitive investigation. Part of that is to include deploying our rapidly advancing manhunt program. That program brings resources from all over to include funding to support your community, the Sheriff's Department, Border Patrol, and all the other resources so we can navigate the terrain and locate and apprehend the fugitive. We will not stop.
It's possible he's trying to come into Canada. He was going in the wrong direction. I noticed on the map when I looked, I was like, well, he's not going towards Canada. But I guess he turned around and started going back the other way. So either he's trying to trick them or he realized he was going the wrong way. I don't know. But yeah, yesterday, I think it was yesterday in my live, I said it. He's going the wrong way, though. But yeah, he turned around, and now he's going back the other way.
We will keep going. He just has to make one mistake, like the Sheriff said. We will find him. He will be brought to justice so the community can heal. Thank you.
With that, we'll take about 5 minutes for questions for either two.
Has Decker left any physical evidence behind any areas that you guys have received tips about?
We have found
indicating that it's him.
We have found items that are of interest to us that perceive that it could be Mr. Decker. We've also continued to follow up with some of his friends and family, and we believe that we're closing in on his trail.
Sheriff Morrison, what can you tell us about yesterday's possible sighting at Blewett Pass?
Again, this just emphasizes the importance. If you see something, say something. We're appreciative of those group of hikers that were up there, had more acknowledged us as our flight patterns were up there, and then just the behavior that we saw from the lone hiker did not match. That was typical with everyone else we were seeing up there. So again, that sparked our interest. We did put a ground unit on there to continue tracking the prints that we had. We continue to track that down in Eagles Creek and up in the Valley High area. So again, we appreciate everyone, even on the back trails. You need to remain vigilant. And again, we encourage you not to approach the subject. He is still considered dangerous, but please, we need as much information and help from the public as we can get. As we've seen in the past with other manhunts, it is going to take a group effort in a community in order to bring this to a conclusion.
Can you tell us from yesterday to today? It seems like you guys were close yesterday and everyone was kind of on edge. I'm just wondering, what about those tactics changed? It seems like you guys...
No, our tactics have still continued. We still have a ground team on there. We have dogs out there that we're tracking leads. We're going through sightings. We're also doing trackings of what we have found with footprints. So nothing has changed from yesterday. We've just started to head in a different direction. So until that time, our ground units are still on the ground. We still have resources within the Chelan County Sheriff's Office pursuing that, and we'll continue to hunt. Yes, ma'am.
Concerned that he could be going a different direction towards the Tianaway Trail, towards Clayella?
Absolutely, and I've already been in contact with Kittitas County Sheriff Clay Myers this morning. We know that he has resources on the ground as well. There is nowhere that he's going to be able to go that we don't have units waiting for him. King County Sheriff's Office has already been here assisting us. Snohomish County, been in touch with Okanagan County. We have Douglas County Sheriffs in close contact. They have the Grant County Sheriff today. He is surrounded. Washington State knows who he is. We're going to continue to be in there, and he's got a lot of ground to cover. Eventually, he's going to tire and he's going to make a mistake.
How confident are you that that lone hiker you guys spotted is Trevor?
We feel pretty confident that it could be him, but again, we're not going to ever go out and say 100% until we have him in our grip.
Sheriff Morrison, when the dogs find Decker, how does that process work after that?
Again, Mr. Decker's going to be able to dictate how this ends. We've encouraged him time and time again to give up, do so peacefully. That's what we're aiming for. But again, Mr. Decker's going to be the one who's going to dictate how this ends. We do not just deploy dogs, just to deploy dogs. They're there to assist us in a tracking process and, of course, to protect the handlers. But he's going to be given the same professional courtesy as any other citizen within Washington State or the United States. We're going to follow de-escalation principles that are followed here in Washington State. We're going to communicate. We're going to do contact and cover, maintain our distance. Our intent is not to hurt or injure him. It is to bring him to justice and make sure that he's in good shape so he can face the trial.
Are there anything as far as motive goes?
Nope. And again, I've said it before, I don't think the motive would even matter. As far as we see it, 3 young girls have been killed. I don't think the motive is going to matter.
No, that's just a stupid question. So worried.
Gun or a game camera footage or hikers?
We're continuing to reach out and talk to different residents throughout the Valley High and the Ingalls Creek area to see if they do have any cameras mounted in their house. Again, the most recent photos we had is what we've shared, and that was a couple days before he went off grid and, of course, was last seen up the icicle.
There been any found supply caches, reported burglaries, and why do you think Decker is now armed?
I don't think any information is put out that he's armed, but I mean, I certainly feel that he is dangerous. If any of you remember the search that we had about 1.5 years, 2 years ago in Kittitas County, we recognized that subject was raiding campgrounds. He had broken into the Liberty grocery store. So again, if you're out there and you notice that you have a vacation home out there or a campsite, we want you to keep track of your supplies, of your cabins. If you do have things that are missing, even if it's minor items. In that case, in the previous manhunt, we do know they were just taking a couple items out of coolers, but it was those campers that were attentive and realizing how many supplies they had. This could be a way that he could continue his path out there.
So no biggest challenge right now for you guys?
Terrain. I mean, we have a very unique terrain when you get to the west end of our county. Again, I mentioned it before, 87% of our county is not accessible by road. If you go out there, it's steep terrain. It's heavily wooded. It's not the easiest to access. We have the Pacific Crest Trail, but another unique feature we do have in our favor is that we are a tourist destination. So we have a lot of people out there also recreating on those trails. So we're encouraging them, if you are going to come here, of course, be safe, but help us be those additional eyes and let him know that he has no safe spot to go.
Sheriff, is there a barricaded suspect situation last night on Wood Pass? Was that related at all?
We did get a call of a potential subject that was in a residence up in the Valley High area. Based off the information we got from our sergeant that briefed the administration here, that did not come out to be a valid call. But again, we're going to continue to handle every single lead that we get as a valid complaint. New tactics as in searching and or in how we contact people?
Both.
Okay. So, I mean, anyone that has been following Washington state law over here over the last several years, of course, we have Washington State's de-escalate Washington, which was I-940. And, of course, it's just how we contact. I mean, we're going to control our pace when we're out there. We're working on contact and cover officers. We've invested heavily, thanks to our county commissioners and other federal partners, with less lethal tools. Again, we're not looking to injure anybody. We just want to take the subject into custody and make sure he stands trial.
I know there's state, local, and federal agencies. Are you guys working with
You talk about which partners we have? Sorry, getting a little bit of background. Yeah.
I'm sure they probably do want to injure him, but
I did have contact today with some enforcement agents up in Canada. We continue to work with our prosecutor's office on that front. But again, we've appreciated all the assistance we've had internationally and nationally assisting us. I mean, we're a medium-sized agency, and we recognize without the support of our partners federally, state, and locally, we certainly would have a unique challenge that I don't think we'd be able to take on by ourselves. So we're thankful for that.
One more question, please. One more. Reopening Icicle Road.
Icicle Road was already opened back up. I know the U.S. Forest Service, who's also been one of our partners we've been communicating with, has put out in their press releases that the enchantments is open again. Again, we'd encourage people to be cautious when they're out there. It is a very wide open terrain, and now you have the potential of a subject who is perceived to be dangerous out there as well that's unaccounted for. So come prepared and know that if there's lots of other places here in Washington State you can recreate. Of course, we want you to come here and visit Chelan County, but if you do so, please be careful. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, with that, we'll conclude today's press conference. For our media partners that are here, if you haven't, I have a media contact list I'd like to have updated so I can send out the most up-to-date information.
All right, and that's that update on press conference on Travis Decker. All right, guys, that concludes the live today. Thanks to everyone that did pop in. I could see people popping in and out. And thanks for joining. And have a beautiful day, everyone. Lots of love. Stay safe. Positive vibes to everyone. Take care.